Listen. Kakum Shamahim, Aduna El Shalom. This is Gabriel and Icon of the Config Global Consulting for pharmaceutical, medical, and innovative technology. The medicine of the future based on the future of medicine. Or I can say the future of medicine for the medicine of the future. Those are same word used differently with different syntax, form, structure, leading to different semantics. So that's why the medicines of the future leading to the cause of the future of medicine. That's what I'm standing for. So before further ado, I would like to thank all my listeners, those who are following this, and I would like to say that I'm grateful to be here and talking to you, as God gave me another day. No violence around, no killings, and no, I'm not dead. I'm alive, right? So some people take it granted, but it is when it happened to you that you say, "Oops, I didn't know this can happen to me too." So the reason why I'm saying this is because all of us that are not protected by God are subject to evil attacks, and if you know you're not protected by God, you're likely gonna be open to any evil attack, the enemy of the soul, like people call it. But you gotta know that every single one of us is responsible to keep a personal relationship with God, okay, and through Jesus Christ. It is very important and valuable. So without further ado, I said, last time I spoke here and I mentioned about the problem that our earth is facing. I spoke about global warming. I spoke about spirituality. I spoke about the danger our civilization is facing. And many people didn't take me seriously. And I said that our problem will get worse and worse. And there will be no solution until men recognize the spiritual involvement into our lives. And the one thing I would like you to know today is that physically you see continents, you see countries, you see things that are separate in distance, but in the spiritual realm they are not far. They are like going to the neighborhood. Like here in Asia, in the spiritual realm is like 5 minutes, maybe less than that. So the evil force gonna move from one country to another like they're going to a neighborhood. We are all connected. In the spiritual realm, it is all one. Okay, we are all connected in that realm. Therefore, we might think that, well, we can talk about this. We are not facing people here. We are facing the enemy of the soul. And those people, those beings are not scenes. They are unseen beings in our eyes. So what is difficult for us to recognize the facts that this is a spiritual warfare we are facing? It is not people that we have problem with. We have problems with this the enemy of the flesh, of the soul, not the flesh. So again, I will reiterate what I said before. We want to spend time talking about this I've done this I've done that. It is what the devil wants us to do, to be distracted to the truth, from the truth. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the topic of today's presentation, saying spiritual DNA. And I will explain to you how is related to what is happening today, to God, related to God, uh, and related to the future of this world, and how Jesus Christ was able to talk about these things indirectly is actually in your Bible, and I will bring some argument to support uh, my my concept, the theory of divine illumination and divine consciousness into your God, who's above, who created you, who's here, who's present. So that's the point of making all this. People are more worried about what the physical aspect of things. The physical aspect of things is not your happiness. And let me read the statement say, the greatest treasure is not natural possession or money or achievement, but it is that which that is hiding deep within our own subconscious. It is our divine purpose. That's the greatest treasure. So we come here, we got lost with the thing of this earth, money, sex and power. Those are the thing of the flesh. It's the same thing even in medicine. Even in medicine, we only know the physical part of what makes us. And the spiritual part, we don't know it. And that's the reason why everything is mixed up. That's the reason why until today we don't have cancer we don't have remedy to cancer. And as we go that way, we will never have remedy for many disease. Everything is controlled by the spiritual world, and we ignore the spiritual world. There's no compassion. This was part of our divine blueprint. The way God made us, it was made like that. So without further ado, I would like to say bonjour, bonsoir to mes écouteurs. Guten Tag, guten Morgen to all my listeners around the world. Este Gabriel Dicon of the Confit Global Consulting. Welcome to Telemundo Confit Global News. So I am here to bring you some cited information that can help people around the world to understand the state of the situation that goes around. Daniel spoke about the last time, the last moments. It means the end of the ruling of Lucifer on earth. John did. I would like you to look closely. The revelation of Jesus Christ is the final one. It is the concrete interpretation of the revelation made by Daniel. So what you're seeing today are the unfolding process and the start of that process leading to it. People have to get ready for what is coming. The point is, our government is not telling some truth about what's going on. Yes, I understand in certain extent that they don't want to create panic, but they don't have to do it. The Bible is there, the scripture there, very clear. And people are still ignoring the scripture, which is something that people must talk about. We focus on things. We come up and say, let's stop the killings. Let's stop the fight between law enforcement and normal citizens. But are we fighting against one another, or we just don't know what we're doing? Every time we put concrete approach into the situation, but it's still happening in different form, is because we're fighting a spiritual battle using physical means. And when you do that, you're never gonna win. You're always gonna lose. Then I say, let's start from the beginning. And I wanted to make a certain joke. You know, you never heard that song called "You Better Call Me Back with the Good Hell"? You never call, make sure that you call me back with a good hell. It means that you call me back with a good reason. That was a lady called Beyonce who sing that song. Say, "You better call me back with a good hell." I will give you the reason why I'm saying this today, because it have to do with our insatisfaction of things. We were never gonna find happiness, never gonna find concrete achievement and peace of mind if we ignore what I'm gonna be talking to you today. It is something very important. It is applied to all human beings. And because of that unhappiness that we have, you say, "You better call me back with the good help." And I have a husband on the other line saying, "Hey B, I get lost here. I am in the store. You know that girl, Rachel. I get too drunk with alcohol and lemonade mixed up. So I'm very sorry about this. Can you come and pick me up?" Now you want to interpret that. You say, "You better call me back with with a good help." That's good. That's one of it. You know, I get too much of alcohol mixed with lemonade. I end up over there. See, in our society, it might make like it look like a fun thing to say, but it is something that happened to all of us. There is no greater achievement in what we pursue. If you don't know that it must play a good role in our divine purpose, forget about it. Forget about it. I want to tell you today, you're going to exit this earth one day. If you have a chance, you're not going to have a spiritual death. If you have a spiritual death, you're going to go in hell and you're going to experience the past. You're going to experience the past. Everything that you have done bad, that will be the past. You're not going to see any future in the Father. But if you go to heaven, you're going to experience the future. But rest assured and be aware that if you end up over there and God said to you, the job that you're going to do in my kingdom is to sweep the floor of my street in my kingdom, don't disgust, don't be mad at God. It is exactly what you put on the ground here on earth. It doesn't matter if you're president. It doesn't matter if you the richest man on earth. It doesn't matter your title. What matters is what God has seen in you, has the way you have exhibited your divine purpose, glorify Him, and your personal relationship with Him. Solomon, the richest person, the wisest person in the Bible, one of the richest men in the Bible, if you convert his money he had was billions. He is the head of the restaurant food in heaven. You see that? He is the one who control the food cooked in the restaurant over there. for people, because it is one big thing when they eating supper together in that long table with Jesus Christ. Very infinite table. I mean, good food. Why do God give him that position? He used to be the wise man. He used to be a very wise. People have a very good example of him in the Bible. But what happened to him? He have many wives. No problem with God, as long as you put God first. But he start considering the gods of the religion of his wives and implementing those things into Israel. And that was not even the biggest problem. The biggest problem is he increased taxes in his people to be more wealthy, and he didn't give anything back. So he didn't fix it before he left earth. Why he didn't fix it? He was still fighting to kill the person that God chose to put him in power. Because God said to him, the nothing guy that you see over there, one of your carpenter, he didn't study too much. He's the one we're going to replace you. But he's the one who helped you to build the temple. He was brought to you by one of your best engineer, and I have confidence on him. Like many rich people, he said to God, who? Him? God said yes. He said, you got to be kidding me. Well, God said, I'm not kidding. It's him. So the point is, how does he came up with vanity of vanity, everything is vanity? I'll tell you the story. He didn't came up with that because he was too happy, he have too much wisdom. He came up with that because at the end of the day, God proved him, I am God. You have your money, all of that, but you're still nothing compared to me. That's why he came up with that. Because what happened when God chose that guy? You're talking about the wealthiest person in the world. He have all the golds equal to billions. Into today, you see people, they look at you like, what do you got? Come and talk to me. So he launched a research to kill the guy. He launched a research for the guy to be killed, because that's the person that God chose. So God talked to that guy, go to Egypt. Egypt became the saving ground of many people. Even Jesus Christ have to run over there when Herod launch a decree to kill all the children. So he went to Egypt, and God said, I will let you know when to come back. So during his journey, an angel appeared to him and said, these are the 12 tribes of Israel. Give it stripe. And those are your 10 tribes. These are the 2 tribes for Solomon. I will give him these 2 tribes, not because of him, but because of his father who served me, David. You go back to Jerusalem, ask an audience with him, and give him these 2 tribes, and you said, try to make peace with him, so that the transition can be smooth. If you reject, you ask him to reduce the taxes on people and make people give more to people. You have enough to give more to people. Reduce the taxes on people and create a more equal wealth for the people who don't have. If he rejected, then you said what I just told you, this is his true tribe. And only given to him because of his father, David. That's it. So the guy said, he want to tell me if I go over there, I don't want to come back. God said, no, go. So in the audience, he came in. Solomon said, seize him. Nobody moved. Solomon said, seize him. Nobody moved. All the people were just there standing like they were not listening to what he was saying. He came and said to Solomon, the God of your father, the God of Abraham, Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Aaron, Joshua, David, and asking you to reduce the taxes on people and give more to people. You have enough money. You have gold. His money was not in dollars or in coins. His money was in gold. You can imagine. So he said to the guy, who are you to come in my court like any other human who have money here, who have power? Who are you to come in my court to tell me what to do? Okay, the Holy Spirit said, now it's time. He said, all right, because you don't want to have peace and do what is right for the people according to God, this is the decision. God said, he's going to take away 10 tribes from your kingdom. He gave it to me. And these other 2 tribes are for you. And he clothed away. He clothed on the floor. God said, clothed on the floor. 2. That's what you have left. I'm telling you, Solomon was angry as hell. And the guy turned his back, leaving. Solomon said, seize him. Nobody moved. Solomon said, seize him. I'm talking about bodyguard, army, to seize a person. It was like when he was saying seize him, people maybe was listening, like applauding him. Maybe that's how God was doing it. I mean, he was saying seize him. And people was like, they don't listen to it. And they even opened the path for him to go out. And it's exactly what happened. When Solomon died, his son took power and said, no, I'm not taking your offer. I will continue. And he ended up with only 2 tribes. So when Solomon saw that happen, he went back to his palace, eating in gold cup and gold thing. He looked gold like that. You have the money. You order people to do something, they don't do it. He looked the cup like that. He clothed away and said, vanity of vanity. Everything's vanity. All of these things mean nothing. That is the point in life. When I start saying the story of Beyonce and all that, people think it was a joke. I don't make joke. I have a message in everything I do. And I said, and that's a message to all people out there who think. He came with that word because he understood at the end there is nothing else beside God. There is no happiness in pursuit of achievement or money or whatever. The happiness can only come when a person accomplish his divine purpose. And that is the toughest task we have. Many of us don't even know what's the divine purpose, and that is embedded in our spiritual DNA, and that's the reason why I have to talk about it today. So Solomon died. He went to heaven. First of all, God said to him, you are here because of your father. If it was not your father, your house would have been over there in community house. I mean, where everybody who was saved by luck, through big luck, they go live there together. They don't have a palace built for them, specifically like God do for everybody who follow him in this earth. Now God said, because you follow the thing of this earth at the end of your life, you take away from the poor, you're going to feed the poor in my kingdom. So everybody who come in who are poor, who die, the first thing God makes sure they do is to bring them into the restaurant and Solomon feed them before they go into where they gotta go in his kingdom. So you see, people, and there's a story in the spiritual realm when I'm talking, and Solomon told me these things. He said he hoped men understand. This is our thing that we're thinking, but it's far from the heaven. Take God's word seriously. As the heaven is higher than the earth, my thinking is higher than your thinking. Please trust me. I will be talking to you about science today, that up to today we are not even close to understand it. But it is something that God created. So when God says something, he means that. You read the scripture. Do not be content by what you have. What you have in this earth, it might be a position, it might be money, it might be a power thing. It is not a privilege. It is an ability that God gave you. Be able to help others. And I want people to know that. Lucifer wants you to think is an ability. It is a privilege because he wants class things. God is saying it's not a privilege. It's an ability. Because he have to choose some people with a task to help other people. If everybody had with no divine purity and divine attainment, you'll be chaos. Nobody gonna want to depend on somebody else because they have everything they want. Therefore, God comes to the conclusion that some people have to have than others as a task, as a chore to help others. Now, let's go from the beginning. God is great. As God is great, as you know, I know God is great. You gotta know from the beginning what Lucifer did to us. It is one of the baddest thing that a being can ever do to another being. You don't understand. The trouble that we're going through today have to do with that beginning. We are blinded To be honest with you, we are truly the sheep, and we need a shepherd to guide us. Truly, Jesus Christ put it very politely. He didn't want to insult us. But I'm going to share you. That was the most advanced metaphor that a person could have ever used 2,000 years ago. We are sheep. To be honest, the truth, we don't even know 5% of the truth. That's how ignorant we are with creation. We don't even know 5% of ourselves. People are going to say, oh, I know me who I am. Now, please, calm down. How could you tell me that I don't know who I am? No, you don't. I will explain to you why. You see, when God created us from the beginning, people, the devil, he came and told you came from evolution. You mean God put a form, and that form evolved, and in that evolution, that's where you guys came, because of certain grand mutation that happened. So you came from the animal somewhere in a long distance, and chimpanzee, and a black chimpanzee appeared, and then the black chimpanzee became a white chimpanzee, and then the white appeared. Those are stories that they were telling us. They need to stop those stories. I'm not mad about the context of that. I just not the truth. That's what it is. Listen. Those animals, they have 24 pair of DNA. We have 23 pair. We have 23 pair, 23. How do you gonna be more intelligent than somebody who have 2 additional pair of DNA than you? And people tell you, you guys are coming from evolution from them. They mean same trend of evolution. Some mutation happen, and you happen to appear. Those animals, they have 2 more pair of chromosomes above us. Above us. When you have more pair of chromosomes, you have more trait or more quality than those who are inferior, normally. But what happened to us? There is a fusion that those half kind of looking chromosomes became one. And fusion appear by itself? No. That side of the story, take it out. We were divinely engineered by God himself. We were transformed and not evolved. It means in Africa, God created a start point. Human, dark in skin. There. They have the name in science you can find. And God knew when mankind came after the dinosaurs. Because there are too many organisms God was testing this earth, just to make sure that it works accordingly. So when man time came to go, he created black in Africa. One, there, they look different than us today when you look back. They are more conserved. He created one in Europe. He created one in Asia. So that is not evolutions. The Arab just came recently. The Arab just came. Many races came recently. God create man specifically, and I'll prove to you when I start talking about the spiritual DNA. What is that we want? You don't understand who we are. You have big money, you have frustration. You have emptiness inside of you because we do not know who we are. We have left out the spiritual world where God is. You see, the devil is very clever. He wants us to believe in religions and in people and forget about the spirituality. But without spirituality, there's no completion in life. I spoke to people about the danger of ignoring the spiritual realm. God created us. He is a spiritual being. He's a light being made of holographic forms. That's what it's made of. Very advanced, and that's the highest technology you can ever achieve when you start talking about hologram and holographic format messages. That's the highest. It doesn't exist in our world because you're talking about video graphic light lives. I'm not talking about things that you see on TV lives. It means that it appears in front of you. You know, you see that. All possibility derive can be done. You wanted to believe. You can just put aside what hold everything and believe that everything can hold by itself. How can you put aside a foundation of a 100 storage building and think that the building gonna stand? You can manage, but still you're gonna go down. You're gonna continue to manage it, and spend all your time there with no focus. Only try to manage it so it doesn't fall down. That's what we do. We ignoring the spiritual realm, and then we say we're gonna manage it. Every time that something happened, we sorry, our heart goes to people who got lost. We try to, we can do better than that. My friend, why are we tough in ourselves with no progress? See, the point is, I'm tough. I went to run today. That's tough, but I know what's the outcome. I'll be healthy. You tell me the outcome in these things. You ignore the spiritual realm. And matter of fact, I don't ignore the spiritual realm when I run. I consider it. That's the reason why I can run the way I do. So we want to put aside the spiritual realm, the thing that hold everything. God created our DNA. And matter of fact, evolution go up to 200,000 years. Okay? Evolution go up to 200,000 years. That's where they think it goes. But unfortunately, in Cameroon, in northwest Cameroon, they found a DNA, Y chromosomes, that age 350,000 years. How can you explain that? How can you explain that? When the evolution talking about is only up to 100 years. So fast like that. I bet you if that DNA was found back in Cameroon there, Central Africa, 350,000 years from today, it means that I can assure you, you're talking about almost half of a million years, 500,000. And our evolution don't go far like that. God created those beings and he put them in continents. When those continents were all interconnected, travel was possible, the sea level was low, people were able to move from one continent to another by foot. Africans were migrating in Asia to that migration that you saw in Egypt happened a long time ago. The European, because of the cold over there that were going down, many races came from mixture between two original races. And over time, you have two new races, not a new race. No, the Arab, they're very new. You're talking about Abraham and the servant of Sarah, Ishmael. That's a mixture of Africa and Asia. So now, God created the DNA from what? From something that is not known to us. The portion of the DNA we know is called the backbone DNA. It is the physical aspect of our DNA. That's why we study in school. That's all. And that is more, even a bigger area of study. But scientists discover a side of the DNA that they call the junk DNA. That is not junk DNA. God don't produce junk. Everything that you see have an importance. Even the garbage that you see right there can be refined and recycled to be reused again. Your stool that you put in your toilet are waste for you, but they are food for bacteria and some microorganisms to grow. God don't use his hand to create something for waste. Photosynthesis. You have carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide is what we release. We don't, carbon dioxide is going to kill me. I need oxygen. You release it. The tree are saying, I need carbon dioxide. I don't need oxygen. So now, what you consider as waste is vital for something else, for somebody else. The trees. And then now the tree goes, oh, we need a little bit of light from the sun. We need light from the sun to catalyze the process, the chemical process. And then when the chemical process is catalyzed, you have a sugar form containing energy that will be used for living organisms and produce lift. And then the waste, oxygen is going to be the waste. We don't want it. And the man is over there, I need oxygen. The plant is saying, I don't need that. It's a cycle, God don't do junk stuff. So what is considered the junk DNA are actually our spiritual DNA. And that spiritual DNA is made out of 10 DNA. And they are pair. And their pair have specific purpose. And I'll come back to, I'm sorry. Please, I hope you listen to this. It will help you. I like the many people. I struggle myself too. But without proper, and I tell you, how do Jesus Christ came and he brought the solution to all problems and all religion into a simple things. And I tell you, when I finish this, that's it. God is great, right? Even in your misery, God is great. When you have all these things and you have all this accomplishment, why don't you say, God, why you gave me all of this good stuff? Why not you give it to a poor man out there on the street? How many people do that? Every time, God is great, he gave me a house. God is great, I have these. Yes, of course. What do God say? I will judge you. Not in what you do, but how what you do affect other people. If everything you think of is only taking and taking, you think that you are in a very good relationship with God? Because you never say, God, why you gave me this? Why do I have this good drink? There's somebody out there who don't have it. God, why you give me this? Give it to him too. We are only takers. We never want to give. If I can drink my toxin-free beverage, it doesn't have alcohol and lemonade in it, I will not be sorry at the end, but let me try. So now the point is, we have to be very sincere for ourselves. We play right, and we honest with ourselves. We never said, God, I won $400 million. God, what you gave, you make me won $400 million. There are poor people out there more than I do. You guys think that every situation that everybody goes through, there's somebody else who are going worse, either in this life or the next. You wanted to see what worse is? You go in hell, you see how people are suffering there. So the wars that you see here, you can imagine how it is in the spiritual realm. It is worse. It is worse. If we are crying here the way we cry, and God can only open your eyes to see what's going on in the other world, you will be happy about what is going on here. It's a complete chaos. It's a civil war. We are in the mix of a civil war between the heaven and the kingdom of darkness. We are in a mix, and the civil war in eternity is long. In the spiritual realm, is long. It is a civil war. We're in a mix. Generation from generation that you ever talk about, they've been in the mix. That's why there's trouble all over the place. There's no peace. And there will never be until Jesus Christ come back. Until God say, enough, that's it. Otherwise, we're just going to do our best. But we have to refer to the revelation of Christ to guide us to do our best. There is no best without a good reference, at least. So the junk DNA, one portion of the junk DNA is called the etheric DNA. And they use it a lot in the spiritual. Well, now I'm talking about the spiritual DNA right there. And I'm giving you the spiritual DNA is made of 5 pairs of DNA. They are all energy level DNA. They function on the frequency and energy. The higher the frequency, the better the energy, the lower the wavelength. So the higher the frequency, the better you are into that specific purpose of that DNA in you. Many scientists have studied. I don't want to ridicule their work. They have done a very good work. Today we are more advanced into medicine, but there are more that we don't know, and it is time to open the door. Many people are killing themselves. Many people are acting crazy. Why? When God came in contact with the first person he chose, because they were already human being living. When he came, he said, okay, now the right person is born, a beyonder. Adam was like me, beyonder. People that the star doesn't depend on stars. It is an organism, a process that God put in place. And some people are just, you can call it lucky, or you can call it a curse. Because when God have his hand on you, you are cursed into this earth, because you're living in Lucifer territory at this moment. This is not God territory. It is Lucifer territory. But God is still under control, because this is the heaven border as well. But just controlled by Lucifer at this point. Until Jesus Christ come back. That's why the return of Christ is not a choice. It is a tax. It is a must be done. So that God can reinstate his initial purpose for this earth and mankind. So when God created us, when he came in contact with Adam, the right person, the first beyonder he got in contact with. I mean, he was not like the others. That's why they call it beyonder. They have a very complicated life. From outside, they look like loser, but spiritually, they're very advanced. Jesus Christ was also a beyonder. Moses, a beyonder. Noah, a beyonder. Most of the people you saw in that Bible, well, most of them were beyonders. The majority. So when God came in contact with the first person, Adam, that he said, this is the right man, he born right time, is a beyonder. Good contact, because beyonder is connected directly with the throne of God. I mean, God created the stars, the constellations. So when you're born, the position of the star at that moment will influence your life. Based on those positions, God have given all the gifts and blessings to those stars. And depending on how they position, some of them will have good influence on you, bad influence, good influence, but overall, it is what you're going to get in life, in that specific existence he sent you to. If the stars say you're going to be rich, you're going to be rich. If the stars say you're going to be president, you'll be president. If the stars say you're going to be about there, you're going to be about there. There's nothing you can do about it. If the stars say you're going to be poor, you'll be poor. You're just going to have to wait for the next remix. Be humble and be compensated in heaven. May God bless you. That's what it is. Now, in that mix, God created people that will not depend on it. And what is the reason he did that? It's because even in the process, rare phenomena can happen. When rare phenomena happen, it disturbs the planetary alignment and cosmos order in a specific time a person is born. There's no reason to have him under the astral power. God take charge. So instead of getting your blessing from the stars that God have put in place, you get your blessing from above the stars. And that one is very complex. Because God is saying you have to go this way. And you as a human is not written your star. And you want to go the other way. God said no, that way. So it is a very complex life. You have some down and some good. And those people, most of the time, have to serve others and wait for being compensated by God. That's what it is. They just serve others. And only God will compensate them. They will have no compensation truly for men. Only angelic or supernatural phenomena will help them. So God talked to Adam. What you see on the Bible is deeper than that. What God did. Man, I'm going to tell you. Some of you might cry. Some of you might say, all right, we don't care. But trust me, it is the reason why we are cheap today. We are cheap and we need a cheap Jesus Christ. What we think we are, it is not who we are. We are more than that. Our physical body is not our true self. Is not even what can bring us satisfaction and happiness. So when Adam and Eve disobey God, the Bible only say, well, they were, and God said the death gonna come, but it was deeper. Scientifically, God did some stuff in our generations. In the beginning, He restored the spiritual DNA. He put it alive. It means our physical DNA. It means that the backbone DNA was already activated. That's what we know. God activated the junk, what we call junk DNA today. It was active. So when Adam and Eve violated God's law, God shut down the spiritual DNA. He said then, you're going to have to work harder to activate the spiritual DNA yourself. And in that process, you become humble and you appreciate who I am. That's what God did. That's why we have a lot of suffering today. That people don't understand what's going on. That's why we are cheap. We don't know what we're doing. That's why Jesus Christ came as the wisest, the most intelligent person in earth. He said, I don't want to insult this human race. I just call them, you need a shepherd. That's the most advanced metaphoric form of language that a person could have used 2,000 years ago. So somebody who didn't went to school, that can truly be the Son of God. You don't know what we're doing because we're lacking the most important thing I'll be talking about. I'll be telling you right now. That's why we have people killing themselves, people getting up and shooting up. It's completely mixed up. If people can just say, Lord, be listen. So God shut that down. It is dormant. It is only activated when you start meditating or praying and knowing exactly how to activate it. And that is only done through the process that God put in place. The heaven can only activate it, or angels. That's the reason why God have angels guiding Adam and Eve. Because it's a lot of power. If God activates your spiritual DNA, that is 97% of who you are. So far, we only know 5%. We only have 5% activated in us. 95% of us that make us, we don't know. And that's a lot of power. And God have to have it under control by having those angels to be there to guide Adam and Eve. And that's something that will come back when Jesus Christ comes return. Those spiritual DNA will be activated. But before it get activated, that's why it's going to take Jesus Christ 1 million to make sure that people don't overuse that power. The people are humble enough to understand what it is. Because you're talking about knowing this thing, you start getting closer and closer to angelic beings. We all know these things. So those junk DNA, they call it the shadow DNA because they are not visible truly with our own eyes. What is visible to our own eyes is the backbone DNA, which is what? Responsible for the physical aspect of the human body. And direct genetic patterning, because that's why we know, that's where your kid come from, they look like you, and all that. Medicine, we have to look the compatibility between the gene and the blood match and all these things. In treatment. Now, Let me start with the junk DNA that make us act sometime that we have to go and write the music to express our feelings. The etheric DNA that God put in place. A reservoir for emotional aspect. I'm reading it to make sure. Which respond to our personality and ego. That is the etheric DNA. It's in us. And it's shut down. God shut it down. How to activate it is to pray. Use proper code to activate that. And those DNA, that DNA function only on the frequency. So the higher the frequency, as I use the equation of the frequency, the energy is directly proportional to the frequency and indirectly proportional to the wavelength. So if the wavelength go down, the energy will go up and the frequency will go up. If the wavelength go up, the frequency will go down and the energy go down. So the higher frequency, the higher energy, the better. But it's all under a certain interval. Because higher of too much might not good. And lower of something might also not be good. So it must be an interval. But high frequency always good. So when that you're lacking that frequency, you don't gonna act emotionally well. And that's shut down. And that require prayer, meditations, and invocation of angel that God put in place to help you activate this. The Hindus, they know this. They do. Some Buddhists, they know this. The Lama Dama, the Buddha Lama Dama, called Lama, what's his name again? He knows this. I am asking this world to support my software application revealing book to help people who walk around who don't know who they are, for angelic being to help them out. For me, I have angel around me. Because you're gonna say, what do angel? I'm telling you, I am a beyonder. My life will be like the life of many that you have seen in the Bible. Jacob, David, Moses, you go, you find me. My purpose here is to help people. My compensation will come from God alone because I don't depend on stars. I don't depend on stars like 95% of human beings, or 97, they do. Some of you, born, you'll be rich, you'll be president, you'll be that and that, you'll meet this and that. But me, it's like this. God say no, the God say yes, the God say no, 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 yes. It doesn't depend on me. So that's how you activate it. Through the use of those angels. You don't have to learn how the Hindu does it or the Buddhist does it. Through Jesus Christ, they do this work for you. That's where Jesus Christ comes in place, and he's important because you don't have to do too much work. Angelic being can activate the etheric DNA, to control your emotion. That's why God have emotional guiding angel to help people. It come back to my software. The world is ignoring. Now we go on to the next one, the psychic DNA. These strands are responsible for the genetic mental profile and how mental energy will be used. Many sick people are there because spiritually they are already down. That's the problem. See somebody coming up, killing, do that because of this. Unless this is solved, you don't gonna solve the problem. Many people who have, sorry I am for people, many people who have genetic problems, who have disability problem that we know in the community, spiritually they have that psychic DNA mixed up in a certain way. Spiritually, unless that is solved, their problems, unfortunately, will never be solved. So we have a lot of sick people out there. And I'm saying to the world, you fighting a physical war, if a spiritual battle using physical means, you will never win that. God deactivated that psychic DNA as well. So in order to be activated and have the help from above, you must use proper procedure, prayer, meditations, and acknowledgement of God and the angelic being around you. Jesus Christ is the Savior, right? He's the Savior, right? It's a lot of work to do for Jesus Christ to help you. You have the other pair. It's called the animal soul DNA. That DNA contains information about your past life, your previous existence. How do you think that people who see previous existence, what do? They tap into your energy that comes from you. They tap into your spiritual DNA to retrieve it. People think, oh, they're very intelligent. They are like God. No, they don't. They're using what God have in place already. Embedded in holographic format. Holographic format is in there. Your karmic lessons and your dharma or life purpose as well is in there. How do you know those people know this stuff? God put everything in us and God shut that down as well because of our disobedience. Imagine that people who are crazy have access to these informations. They can manipulate a lot of things. So we refuse to obey to God and said, you have angelic being that will guide you. I will activate these things 24 hours so that you're not a sheep. You know exactly where to go and what to do. You have access to the universal consciousness. You know what's going on. You ever know what's going on in a different continent that is very far away from you in a second when it happened? You have access to your previous existence, all these things. So you know how to do your life here for the next one that come when you exit. Many people will say, well, in Christianity, we don't believe in remix. We don't believe in reincarnations. I see. So do you believe that everybody will come like Jesus Christ and do perfectly and be grounded and reach perfections like he did? So you just believe that God did something, a soul, he built up a soul, and he just going to lose it? I told you before, God always wins at the end. God never do anything wasted. God didn't create soul to use to lose soul. The spirit that God created will never be lost. The soul can be lost, but the spirit at the end will be belong to God. Your spirit is on a journey, and on that journey is a long journey. God divided your spiritual journey into segments, and every segment is one of your segment right now, what you're going through right now at this moment. He gave a time frame which is millions of years, sometimes thousands of years, depending on how the person will be stumbled of not following his advice. If your soul end up in hell, you got to know you have a more longer journey, because compensation have to be made. You cannot reach that perfection God wants you to reach without just by chance alone or by luck or because he like you. You have to go through a process. The soul that you see, God loses soul, but it doesn't lose the spirit. Everything that God does is not in vain. If somebody told you that, you have to get the heck out of there very quick. Soul can be lost because it is the same spirit that go through phases to reach that attainment as God had designed. That's why this DNA pair exists in us. It tells us our karmic lesson. It means that what our residue from the previous one we're going to have to pay in this lifetime. It tells us our dharma, our good and life purpose is there. If what I'm saying is not true, this DNA will not exist in you. The specific one, which is part of your spiritual DNA, will not exist in you. The spiritual DNA is made of 5 pairs of DNA. I am talking about the third one. Etheric, I spoke about it, that's emotional. Psychic DNA, that is the mental, spiritual mental state. And now I'm talking about the animal or the soul DNA. That's the third one. And I have 2 more because there are 5 pairs. There are 10 DNA, shadow DNA in total. And in 10 you have 5 pairs. So if reincarnation didn't exist, Christian wouldn't want to wake up. This thing will never be part of you. Let me tell you a truth here. When you hear sometimes people say, the heaven will help people who want to help themselves. Let me make it very polite. God gave us everything in God gave us everything. We have everything in us. Now God wrote the Bible called the guide. Follow my guide because you got mixed up from the beginning. I don't know how a sheep can function without having a guide. David, the sheep, the shepherd for sheep. He did it for years. God said, no, you got to know how to direct people, how to govern people. Start with the sheep first. Because me as God, I consider you as sheep. You don't know what you, and he's right. God is completely right. This thing, I didn't know about it a long time ago. So, just recently. Those are very important things. These things are 97% of who we are. Imagine we're missing 97% of who we are. Let's say 95%. That we're supposed to plug in into the high power to get it activated. And they are all dormant. Some of us are too dormant. They are spiritually dead walking around. I don't even know how the angels see these things, or sometimes they're laughing or they're crying, they're seeing people, wasted time. I don't know how to do. Yeah, your karmic lesson and your dharma, life purpose, is in that DNA. It's called the anima or the soul DNA. Now I'm going to the fourth pair. It is called the astral DNA. Astral, it means A-S-T-R-A-L DNA. This is the basin, it means the reservoir, where all the electromagnetic influences of our solar system are integrated. I was talking about photosynthesis. God don't do things wasted. The photons that come from the electromagnetic wave of the suns, the light suns, those quantum of light in moles, feed information to our backbone DNA, physical DNA. And these astral DNA do the job. It is the memory, because a basin is a holder, a holder. That's what it means. Of something. It is a memory, a storage that store holographic information coming from the photons of the suns. In quantum more, it is part of us. Now we have the fifth pair, called the cosmic DNA. And this is what God used, part of it, to create us. It does not exist on earth. It's a year we store all the potential to create and to recreate ourselves using the cosmic DNA. But potentially we're never going to be able to do it because we don't know how it works. It's not belong to here. It cannot be recreated. It's only in heaven. Only God create human being. It was a long project. So you can imagine the 10 shadow DNA that are very important to our existence. That's the reason why God have the spiritual guardian angel, the emotional guardian angel, and the physical guardian angel. And the author comment said, the DNA is the most spiritual part of our being, ingrained into our genetic code. And the neural cell, this is the master point of the connection between the individual and the entire cosmic universe. That's why when you pray or you meditate, your neural cell play the role of connecting those holographic information with the cosmic universe. Entire cosmic universe, the neural cell that you see, they're the connection point. And those things were part of our original divine blueprint. So when God created us in the beginning, it was activated. It was part of the deal when he entered the life of Adam before he shut it down. Now we have to plug it in to the power, and the power is in heaven. And in order to activate these things, we have to acknowledge who God is. We have to use the correct code, the correct frequencies. The good frequency in all of those DNA, spiritual DNA, because they function, they are energy level. They function only on the frequencies and energy level. If you go to my website, you're going to see I put the Omni Health equation, and meditation and prayer is part of it. We, as the people of this earth, we have to know. The person who don't fear God is less than a sheep, actually. Because what we know of us is only 5%. And what we don't know of us is 95%. Know where we come from, what is our purpose. Here, we have to tap into the spiritual DNA. And it's even more complex than that. Because I can assure you, the astral DNA play a big role as a software to control the backbone DNA. It does. And many DNA within the spiritual scope DNA control our lives. We're going to be lying by this government, not speaking the truth to people. And I'm saying to Donald Trump and to Hillary Clinton, speak the truth from your heart, the way you believe God wanted. God put the truth in us. We don't have to be part of the world, but we can be part of the heaven, the true one. It is God who make you get up in the morning. When I studied this science, this advanced science, to understand how the human body is made, our life is not essence by, or is not hold by what we eat, or the comfort we have, or what we believe we have in the bank. Our life is held by the spiritual force behind us, within us. It is not what we see. So you don't consider the spiritual realm. You waste your time. I saw a lot of people out there, they lost their, they have big loss in life. They lost the husband, they lost this, they love kid. What is more painful in life than to recognize that God is the only person that can give you true happiness through Jesus Christ? I can assure you, at this moment I'm talking to you, many of the research only deal with the backbone DNA. We know nothing about the spiritual DNA officially. So many things can guarantee you happiness. Oh, you have people around who love you. Oh, you just have to connect and have more friends. More friends you have, it means that God is with you. The thing of this earth, and not the lie of an exponential level. That's what the devil wanted to think. The 666, the power of man. Put God aside. Think about us. Don't talk about God. We can do it. You can do it, huh? If we still have people dying with all the technology we have, we can protect ourselves. We come in today, somebody do this, we say, okay, we put some preventive method in place. The next time you know something else happened that we have no clue, and the next time we know something else happened, and people are choosing up and down. I don't know how Lucifer choose those people, or how people spelling them. They come from different places. How can we fight a war we don't spiritually understand? As I speak, God already know who's gonna be the next president of the United States. There is no magic about it. Now, one of the candidates gonna say, God, if you already know who's gonna be the president of the United States, why do you make us go around and battle between us and try to show we're gonna get there, and we insult each other? Why do you want to do that? That's a very legitimate question. Everybody who end up in that position is not by chance, or you are a presumed presidential nominee for your party. It is not by luck. It is because it was part of your divine, of God's plan in you, divine plan in you. You're supposed to be where you are. I don't care if your backbone is Lucifer, you're using Lucifer to get where you are. It's still God will have to put a stamp on it, because Lucifer have to go meet God and said, I want to lift this person. He came to me. And God gonna look and say, look in your path, the way he created you, and say yes or no. If he say yes, it means that he accepts something that he know he'll be used for his advantage tomorrow. That's what he does. God don't do things that accepting, you're gonna be used for his advantage. So those people that become presumed nominee of the party, respective party, it was said to be the case. It means some of us have some quality that are similar, some purpose that are similar. And they have to go together. Sometimes end up in the same place for the same position. But what is true about what God did is that when one lost, the other one will win. Even if one win and the other one lost, if that one will last, continue in a pattern, he can potentially win one day. You can see in many of the presidency in America, most of the president used to be have lost previous elections, and they came back again and they became president. Most, if you look in the past, the American president, you see that. It's just that some of them end up and say, okay, I give up. This was not my thing. But normally, if you continue, you don't give you potentially gonna get it. You might be for only 1 year, because you probably gonna be like 99 something. Yeah. God can give you another 4 more years to live. People are gonna elect you. Now we need a 99-year-old in office now. But most of those people made it. They made it there. You're gonna see the people. I start with the first, second, and third, fourth president. They were all lined up. How do you believe people like that, all of them became president? Because they were part of. Because when you meet in a certain level, like people are saying Donald Trump cannot become president in this country, my friend, is because you don't understand who God is. If Donald Trump was not eligible to be president in this country, he should not even be in that level at all. Period. But he's there. People have to acknowledge the truth. Hillary Clinton as well. People say, well, she have cheated, she have lied, she have done this. Well, who else have not lied in this earth? You raise your hand. Because many people are there pointing hand on other people and all this stuff. If you never lie, raise your hand in Georgia. But if you know that you have lied one day, don't. So God made a decision. It is her. Period. Who gonna be the presumed nominee? And as she's already there, she as well have a chance to become president, as well as Donald Trump. Just the way it is. It's just difficult for people to accept God's decision. But they call themselves Christian, believe in God. No, you're not. If somebody hurt you, forgive that person right in the spot and move forward. Right in the spot. The most hateful thing God don't like is people who don't know how to forgive. Because God forgives all of us. That's why you're there, you're breathing, you're laughing, you're planning your thing. It's because God forgives this earth. If all the bad things that happen here, that keep happening, he could have done the same thing as he did, destroy this generation and move on and start fresh. He can do it. But why is not doing it? Because of his grace and mercy. That's forgiveness. So when somebody hurt you, somebody pissed you off, forgive him right in the spot. Because you've been forgiven to even be alive. You don't stay there and start thinking, because many people take this life granted. Let's see God give you a cancer, and then literally God give you a paralyzed legs. Then you have cancer and paralyzed legs. Then you can't even move. And then now God give you another disease that make you cannot even think of reason. Then you freaking like a different, different than an animal. Now you're gonna start appreciating life. What if I have my legs so I can go? What if I have my health so I can do something? Now I can even think, because you never went to those. There is a woman who was born with a disease, and God didn't stop there. Even after that disease, God gave her a cancer. And then after the cancer, God paralyzed her. And then after God paralyzed her, she have another disease. She came into the conclusion. And when she said that, I applaud. And I say, the angel, when people don't know God, they can say whatever they want to say. She said, Lucifer went to God's throne and said, that one, I'm going to paralyze her. God said, yes, go ahead. But I know you don't going to take her soul. Why do God allow evil thing to happen to the people he loves? Because he wants those people to glorify him through that process. That's the best way to glorify God. You're never going to glorify God when everything's going well. Oh yeah, I just see it come. I got $1 billion in bank account. Oh God, you very good. I love you. I get my wife there. I get a big house over there. I get a good kid. Everything's going fine. Everything's going fine. God, I love you. God is looking your heart, and you see an hypocrite talking, and people are putting, he's a good man. He's gonna go to heaven. He's a good man. You got a lot of people like that here in this world, right? This world, you guys don't understand how God functions. The same person, God took the money away. God said, okay, no problem. You wanted to mock me in front of people? When God talk about mocking him, this is what God mean. It mean you are saying to people how you love him, when actually in your heart, which is the truth, you don't. But how do God know it? Because God knows that when he's going to put you in a corner, you're going to start cursing him right away. So God said, okay, no problem. Let me test this individual. I have a lot of petition that come in my clone from Lucifer about a lot of you. I just have to accept some of it, and then you're done. He did say the same thing to David. He said to David, hey, you mock me. You didn't respect my advice, right? This is what's going to happen. You're going to have trouble in your house. You're going to lose your throne. But I'm going to reinstate you. Don't worry. You're just going to go to some painful situations. I want to let you know how painful it is, too, in my heart when you do certain things to me. You're created like me. So when you do certain thing, it's also painful. So let's experience it too. What happened is that Lucifer comes with petition over petition, thousands of petitions every single second about all of us in this earth. From president down to the poorest person, he doesn't care. He wants people to go down. If you're poor, he wants you to dig the hole and die. And even when you die, he wants to take your soul in hell. That's what Lucifer is. I mean, you guys don't understand who he is. The guy, he's mad at God as you can ever imagine. If God gave him just the ability, that would be War 4, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 into the 100, into the everybody perish. You guys don't have any idea. Because of God's goodness, He have angelic being that protect us. And He have a lot of petition that He reject. And somebody gonna say, what? Just God destroy that being. Well, it's not so simple. You see, how do people say that Lucifer is clever? Because he used the same thing, characteristic of God, to put God in a position in which we are today. He know God can never sin. He know God is good at all times. So, what God say, He can change it. If He change it, it means He's not God. So what God said in the beginning, He cannot change it. That's why we are where we are. Because what God have given him in the beginning, God cannot take it away just like that. He must go through a process and test. So that himself dig his own tomb. That's how God functions. Therefore, God come out of there hand clean and divine. That's the reason why evil exists the way you see it. So don't be there and cry and do stuff if you don't understand. So the petition go. You see the same thing with Job. He take money out of that individual. He take his kids. He take his beautiful wife. And the guy's single. The money's gone, the business go down. The guy start walking on the street. He doesn't even have his car, sell everything. And then God sent somebody in his path. Hey, I'm very sorry to see that. I mean, I'm sorry to hear what happened to you. Do you ever hear talk about God? God did it on purpose. The way He gonna answer, gonna determine who He truly is with respect to God. I'm pretty sure the instant of every human being who is going through the process, gonna say, please, never talk to me again about God. When we go to the process of suffering, real suffering, God is not your friend. But that is where God needs you. Because that is where you have to prove to Lucifer that God is God. God don't need you when everything's going well. You have what you want. You can have what you want except happiness. And you start singing your songs. Because the pain is too grave. Give it to God. You solve it. Give it to Jesus Christ. He's going to give you the water of life. He's going to take it away. The devil is a liar. That's what it is. I'm telling you, he wants you to be poor. Take the shovel, dig down, die, and he can fight to get your soul so you can even go to hell. He did it for many people before Jesus Christ. You guys just don't know. When Jesus Christ died, Jesus Christ have to go to hell to free some people. We live in a world that I pray for the future generations. That application is very important. If this government, whatever you want to do, sponsor or whatever private individuals out there will have the money to build this software, this application, get it done. There is no other solution to our trouble than the angelic being that God has put in place. We're gonna go up and down. We're gonna have good speech. At the end of the day, somebody is gonna go down. After the speech, actually, Because God is saying, those people are mocking me. They come up and talk good speech when actually they know the truth. The truth is, do not ignore the spiritual realm. And you know the spiritual realm hold everything. So why you keep talking about physical mean when you're dealing with spiritual warfare? Trust me, like I said before, I prophesied and I said, I'm not a prophet, but I just say prophesy because that's the right term to use. I said, there will be no trouble in those conventions. And I say that, and I say, and nothing happened. The convention went well for the Republican, and there will be no trouble for the Democratic Convention. Why? Because God is the one who allowed it to be. And God don't want any trouble. So any petition Lucifer going to bring over there to bring trouble will be rejected. Therefore, angelic being will be in place. Even if you guys don't have any physical protection, people will be afraid to come in there to do something. Just like that by nature. I'm telling you. Even if you open the door, they're not going to come. This is not a conspiracy, I'm telling you. I'm just telling you what the Holy Spirit and God just told me. I'm letting you know. Everything will go well because God wants this process to go very well. He have a purpose. So he doesn't want his purpose to be mixed up. See, you see, God is a God of beneficial things. Things that don't go in his advantage doesn't go through. Most people think God is a God of good. I eat everything, God have nothing. Who told you that? What you have is the leftover of God 1 billion years ago. That's what we have. So thinking that we have a better life than he do, or he's sitting there, our technology, no. His technology is 1 billion year advanced than our technology. You can imagine, we're never going to reach it. Conclusion. He's the wealthiest person in the world, in the entire universe. In his kingdom, nobody pay for electricity. First of all, it's light over there. So, never darkness. Nobody pay for residency, where you live, water, nothing. Everything is free. Paid in full by God. Presents are given free. It means that if you die based on what you have done in this earth, you're going to have a present there in gold and diamonds. In gold and diamond. Pure one. Clear gold. Gold is normally clear. In heaven, it's clear. It is a realm and dimension that exists. It does exist. And I want people to know that. When you see politicians, and I want the Democrat to be very, very serious. Otherwise, they're going to wake up tomorrow and say, what happened? I'm telling you right now. The movement, the politics in America is changing. I am advising you not to go in your campaign and say that what Donald Trump is talking about is garbage. If you go with those, you will be surprised. Everybody know that many things he said, there's certain truth to it. So take it seriously as it is. That is a serious individual. He might not be a typical politician, but you don't have to be a politician for God to put you where He wants to put you. Jesus Christ didn't went to school to become a high priest. He didn't even have the lowest title in any church. But God raised him up. So, and one of the reasons why people are telling me, who are you to come and tell us that it is done here? I mean, you don't even have a degree from a theological school here. That's the point. When God put a person in that position, take him seriously. Everything he said have to be analyzed. Not like the person is done, but very seriously. Because that's what happened. People neglected him into now, and people start waking. And I'm seeing something that he's doing that many people don't do. He's not campaigning like the regular do. He doesn't going to open too much offices in all the states. He doesn't do too much commercial on TV and stuff. People have to be very scared. This looks like a very well planned from 10 years ago. This is not somebody who wake up and say, I'm running. He planned this. He know exactly what he's going to be saying. He studied the country. He know the economy. He know what's going on around the world. He know what's doing. There are many things that we're going to discover as we go. I promise you. Wow. My message to the Democrat is that God told me to take him seriously. Period. That's the message. I don't want you to wake up in the morning and say, what happened? Let's don't worry. Let's have some alcohol and lemonade, and maybe we can say our sorry later on. And then many people shut down the TV. I don't want to see this. No, it will be God's choice. We have to all take people seriously in everything they do, because it is where it is according to the heaven. Otherwise, Ted Cruz should have been there. When Ted Cruz was invited, well, I'm going to show this guy that, he called himself a Christian. Please, my dear friend, please, this is a message to you from God through me. I'm telling you, you claim to be a Christian, you have to forgive right at the spot. You have to be able to applaud other people's success when you fail. You have to be able to recognize other people to advance when you fail. It was better for you not to even go there. Like the Bush did, like the governor of Ohio did. God don't have any problems. But don't go in God's place that he blessed to mock him, because that's what you did. Well, I'm pretty sure you're a very intelligent man. You know how to remedy that. And you got to do that fast before God hurt you in your career. That's what it is. Those conventions are blessed by God to be. Otherwise, those other opponents should be there. But they are not. You support. You embrace. You cry. You say, God, you created me like him, but why him? Well, God will tell you, why Jesus Christ? Why not your ancestor? I'm pretty sure if they were choosing your ancestor, you will say, no, not me, choose somebody else. If you ask why, you're never going to have an answer. What it is what it is. I see the woman who have disease over disease, and she came in conclusion that God have agreed for her to suffer in order for her to show the glory to God. I have painful situation. My body feel, painful situation. And I see Jesus Christ around me. I see God hand around me. I see angelic being around me, and I look in the beginning of this thing when I was growing into the spirit, and ask myself, if God created all being, He know everything, why does He come and chill out with me and don't want to solve my problems? He knows that He knows what I'm going through. He feels the pain. And you come into the conclusion, it is not about that. It is about you showing God glory during your painful time. That is the best moment. That is the exciting moment of God. Like we are excited here when we have good thing. God are excited when we glorify Him in our hard time. It is the best moment of God. He loves it. The way you are excited here when you win a lottery of $408 million, God is excited when somebody glorify Him during the hard time, because then He knows you are with me. So you don't gonna go into painful situation and start not forgiving. First, that's the first thing that you did that's not right. Somebody did something, you forgive right in a spot. Then either you decide not to be there, not to mock God, because that's what you did. You might not like a person. It doesn't mean that God don't like him as well. We have to be honest as Christian. People who call Christian themselves Christian. Jesus Christ has been clear. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. I don't think that you would like somebody to come in your convention and mix up your convention. It's very simple. You think that I like the guy? No. I go with God, what God chooses. You start studying it. You start understanding it instead of going against it. God allowed people to hurt me. Instead of going against it, I start understanding it. It is what it is. People hurt you today, they hurt you again tomorrow. Start understanding the pain so that it doesn't bother you anymore. That's how you grow. You go against it, you're going to kill yourself. And many people does. If you keep asking God, why do you take my kid? Why do you give me this kid that is, who have some disability? One day you're going to take something to kill yourself. It will change nothing. But what will happen is if you accept it the way it is, you will find happiness. And God will give you the strength to have happiness. It is very crucial for people to understand how God functions. I have many blockers. Many people rejection. I have a community that go around and speak evil thing about me in front of me, in front of friends. And I say to those friends, whoever speak to me, they have to know God is with me as you speak. I am very advanced spiritually. It means I have angelic protection 24 hours. I even have angelic protection when I'm not in my house. They are there in the door, in all doors, in all windows. They protect this house against evil invasion. It means for a bad thing to happen in this house, it will be very difficult. Because when the devil will come from the distance to send his people, to activate people out there to come and do something, they will be fought and destroyed. So when you talk to me, you tell me something, you have to follow it. Because God is there with me. He witnessed it. And he will find you accountable for it. I have people who treat me wrong. They run away from me. They look at me like a bad person. Because they still have a picture of me 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I'm a different person. Unless you are retarded or you have some evil problem that don't want you to advance, there's no other way to explain this. 10 years ago, I was a different person. Now I'm a different person today. With new reality. The same things. I have that individual. They keep talking about he like this, he like that. I don't like this, I don't like that. I make my choice very clear as I walk with God. I spoke to a lady, and friendship or a male friendship, they have to come against them and tell them malevolent thing about me to isolate me from them. And they've been doing it over and over. Those things must stop. But I'm saying to you, those who do those things are digging their own trap, because this thing gonna go back to them the way they put it in. It's very simple. And when people give me their word, they have to keep their word, because God take it accountable. Don't tell me something and behind the scene you get influenced by the community. God gonna hurt you when you come against his person. When you speak your word, keep it. Continue your word. I didn't know that. There was a story of a lady. She was talking with a person of God, and she didn't know. And she's supposed to do something good for him. And she rejected. And she agreed with the system. That person, unaware of things, he left. After that, that lady got sick, very, very sick. Very, very sick. Out of the blue. Because God was trying to tell her, life is not as easy and simple as you think. Things are complex. When I send you a person to help him. Don't go around. When she have 2 to 3 weeks of sickness and things that she thinks she's gonna die, but she didn't die. God was testing her. And then suddenly, when she came to the conclusion, she was thinking about every single thing she did wrong. And that's exactly what God was doing. When he put you in a corner, You start confessing one by one and transforming yourself. And she came back and she called the guy and gave him exactly what he was asking for. And God said to the guy, because of that, I give her 3 years of free health. Never gonna be sick. So when you speak to a person who is friend with God, face to face, be careful of what you said. I can be angry on anything, but trust me, God will always have my back. I don't care what you guys think. Moses was. One day, Jesus Christ got angry as well. Anger is not something that we build ourselves. It was given to us from God. God have a moment where he said it is enough. If you think that I'm saying what is not true, look Noah. What do you think that God decided to destroy earth with water if it was not true, being angry about what he been seeing going on here? What do you believe that God decided to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah if he was not angry about what was going on there? You wanted to mold it to say God is good so he cannot be angry? No. God will tell you, no, you were made like I am. I made you in my image. Do I have to tell you that I have emotions like you? I give you the brain to think. Think about it. You have emotion. But his creation is higher than us. So his emotion will not be like our emotion. It will take a lot of time for his emotion to reach a certain point. It will take a lot of time and a lot of sin, a lot of hate for him to say, that's it. Compared to us that a small thing like this, I don't like it. Small thing like this, I'm sorry. A small thing like this, you better call me with the good hell. Well, depending on what you call small. Thing that you call small might be bigger for some people. You never know. That's what makes us different. And that's what sends us to give everything to God. So you have emotion like us. God can decide to have a physical body. And of course, he's a spiritual being. So emotion, physical, and spirit are the characteristics of God. And those are the characteristics he embedded into his creation. Animals don't have a smile like we do. The day you're going to see an animal smile like you have to know there's a demon that lives in him. Call 911 or do something. Or you might be experiencing situation in the next hour or minute. There's no animal who have a smile like human being. It is specific. Very specific. And it has to do with the etheric DNA. The emotional aspect of our human creation. And that is spiritual. It is part of the spiritual DNA. I have experienced God in a level that I don't ever think I have ever think of or dream of. That you start understanding everything that is written without even thinking twice. And then you understand that many people say, I saw God's hand, I saw God touch, I saw the angel hand and touch. Let me tell you, those beings, and exclusively God, don't touch you because he want to touch you, maybe because he pleased to touch you. When God touch something, healing will occur to that thing, change will occur to that thing, transformation will happen. So because God is spiritual, what does he do? He gonna touch what is spiritual in you and heal what is spiritual, because spiritual is what hold what is physical. Therefore the physical will also be transformed and change and heal. That's what it is. It's not a simple touch, it is a touch of healing. And protection as well. So you gotta know the devil is at work. The enemy of the soul is at work. Despite the fact of his existence, we are responsible to for our actions. Each one of us. We cannot rely on saying, well, we are not fighting human being here, the flesh here, we are fighting the enemy of the soul. That is a way to give away responsibility. No, we are responsible for our action. Yes, you're gonna say, yeah, a demon possesses me in order for me to do what I did. Of course, some people who understand it will say, all right, but you somehow open a path or gateway for that to happen. It means if you are very close to God, many things will not happen. We all have temptation, all of us. Our brain process like thousands of thoughts every single minute, good and bad, at the same time, simultaneously. We make a decision in our thought first before it go into action. So you don't gonna come and say it just happened. Nothing happened in man. It's processed first in your subconscious and thought before you go to action. An example, you are walking. People can see you walk. You don't suddenly lift your arm like this unless you have a disease. You process it. I gotta lift my arm like this and I touch. It is simple concept. It is thing that people must know and give their life to God. The world wants you to know about religion. The world wants you to know about coming together. The world wants you to know about giving power to men. Those are not bad ideas. Those are good ideas. Making America great again is a good idea. Together, stronger together, those are good ideas. But without God, they will not be complete. It is as simple as that. At the end of the day, people will be saying, we are disappointed about it. Because God has never been there. There is no manpower alone that can achieve what the structure in the head to be good and complete. It will never be perfect if God is not part of the picture. We wanted to talk about ISIS. It's an evil agenda. But how do ISIS can be defeated? They can be defeated if the spiritual realm is won first. Therefore, the physical realm will be won. In order for the spiritual realm to be won against them, men should understand how to do it. Put God first, put Jesus Christ first, and connect with angelic beings that can fight those demons that are present in that regions. And that will require men's faith for that to happen. Therefore, when that happens, those demons will be locked down, or either they're going to retrieve for those who don't want to be locked down, who don't want to run away like they do sometimes. Then you're going to see little by little how the ISIS force will be dismantled. You wanted to fight the ISIS force by physical means, disregarding the spiritual means, you're wasting your time. It's probably going to happen when God time come, which will be maybe another 100 years, maybe tomorrow, maybe 200 years. So the deal is, Lucifer is saying, I want to put these people in the corner so that I prove you that they are not worthy the way you think they are. They're gonna ignore you. They're gonna denounce you in the corner. That's what I'm about. To prove you from the beginning that this project was wrong. That's the term, that's the concept behind the civil war. The spiritual civil war that's going on. It is to prove to God that we are not worthy, like he claimed. And you know, in order for your enemy to get you, what he do? He go after the people that are close to you, the people that you love, and present himself with smile and present. Example, this, Jesus Christ in the desert. Temptation there, a proposal. What is going on today in our life, in Hollywood, in movie, in music, in political arena, all those people that are under Luciferic agenda. He smiled to them, he proposed them the word, he proposed them fame and money. At the end of the day, he wants you to die and then dig yourself. And when you dig yourself, he's going to fight against those angels to get your soul into hell. That's exactly what he's planning. The point is, he wanted to create his own kingdom in the spiritual world. So he needs a lot of soul. You quite don't understand it. You're not talking about the kingdom year of human being. You're talking about the kingdom year of spiritual beings. And when you die, you go back to the spiritual realm. Either you are in hell or heaven, you are in the spiritual realm. So you comprehend how things are going. I might be one of the person in this earth who have the ability. Many pastors, many priests talk. They say what is written in the Bible. Yes, but people have to be proactive to help the heaven, to help us. People are going to say, why do we cannot help the heaven to help us? It's because you don't understand the metaphor. The help, the heaven, that help don't mean help. It means do what is required of you so that the heaven can help you. Example, you are hungry. God bring you fresh food and you're asking God to cook that food for you to eat when actually you can cook it yourself. That's the kind of help. In metaphor, I said, help yourself so that God can give you the strength to eat it and nourish it and bless it so you can be healthy. So you guys are talking good news, but proaction must be. You guys know the truth. Angelic beings are the one God have assigned to fight evil presence in this earth. Not a priest, not a pastor. We cannot. You don't have the tools. Yes, we have faith, but you cannot. Jesus Christ said that you cannot go against Lucifer alone. He beat you. Those angelic beings were put in place by God for a reason. Look, Genesis first. In the Garden of Eden, in the entrance, there were angelic beings protecting the entrance, protecting Adam and Eve. You didn't see anything else there. They didn't talk about weapons. They didn't talk about there were gate stuff. Yeah, there were gate, but they were in the gate there, protecting. The gate alone was not protecting Adam and Eve. So you have to be proactive. You need to start talking about things that you know God has put in place to help human beings. You worry about you don't going to get money in, leave that to the Holy Spirit. He will help you. I tell you, that's what it is. People might not get it, won't get it. And I wanted to say to people about the last thing I'm going to say before I wrap this up. I am clear as I can be. Gabriel and Daikon don't have any problems to be admitted to any institution. I have a lot of knowledge. The story they told you is not true at all. Institutions have entity that interpret any foreign credential. Any institution here in America. And it is what I use. And they deal directly with the institution. And they are here. Those entities are here in the United States. So I want people to stop their gossiping that do not advance humanity and progress people. The information that I give you here can help somebody, can boost somebody's faith. So destroying me is destroying you. The world is one. Hurting me is hurting you. Because when you hurt another person, you are giving away the benefit of that person in this earth. That's what you're doing. Because every single one of us have something to give. Not a few, but every single one. Even somebody in the street that beg for money, he has something to give to this society if opportunity is open. But some of us don't want to give opportunity, or either they don't want other people to have a better life because of their experience. They want everybody to be the way they went through. It's too easy for him, mine was not like that. I have, and I've said to people, that thing that you're talking about, like I say again, a third party handled this thing, and those are 10 years ago things. Secondly, so I don't know why people are wasting time and think that nothing means. I have no direct jurisdiction with those individuals. When I want them to send something to any institution or employer, I contact them and they do it. From here, they are here in the United States. That's how you do things with clarity. Whatever they come up with, it is what you go with. It is what all institutions go with, because they have an agreement and they do the job very good. Because things that they deal directly with institution over there, and whatever they come up with is what is true and what will go through, clean and progressive. And you go with what you have. So that story must stop. Those people talking stuff they don't understand. They have to stop these things. And I have another thing I wanted to say about people wanted me to date a certain specific woman. I wanted to say first, I want to say a joke. It's like a joke, but that joke gonna be directly to I call it beloved president or whatever it is that you want to call. His wife is African American but black in color. He is black but he is mixed color. He said himself that she loved Stevie Wonder, and if he have not come first, he should have been there. So, he did it like as a joke. And I also listened to her statement with the guy who hosts the Late Late Show at CBS. She said, "I love Stevie Wonder." So that was a man that, if our president was not the one, he should have been the one. People can interpret it differently they want, but that's the truth. Now, if she chose him to be with, I can assure you, she have other choice. So she chose him. And he chose her, whatever it is. And they're together. I make my choice. of who I want to date, regardless of the color. And people will come and dictate me who do I have to date, who I don't have to date. I am not here to say to people, who are you? I don't gonna say that. But what I would say is, I have the same birthright like every single person in this earth. There is no reason to go around and defame my character and name for something that is part of my birthright. If some of you, somebody have stopped you to have the woman you have today, will you be happy? If you answer that question honestly, I'm very sure that you will understand where I'm coming from with this. You can look at me. I am not a man of lower taste. I'm not a man of residual, leftover. Look at me very carefully. I'm not that kind of person. My things are high quality and effective and efficient. And I don't like lastly leftover. And when the system is doing what it's doing, God is not okay with it. That's the reason why God sent angelic beings here who are so beautiful in here. Because he wants people to see that this is what this guy is looking for. And I agree with that because that's the way I made him. He does it in purpose for you to know and to see. And he keep doing it over and over. Sometimes it's 3 angelic females together. And they don't appear because of me. They appear because of God says so through Jesus Christ. So you give me what is belong to me. And I have respect for those people, but what they're doing is not fair. What they're doing is not fair. So without further ado, I hope that people will come into faith in God and pray that God brought them into the position they are, and to speak the truth to the world about the spiritual warfare in God to bring peace. I have proposed a very good software about angelic beings and action that can help reduce violence in this earth. Not in America, in this earth. And reintroduce mankind to the original state in which God wanted men to communicate with angelic beings. I have the information and I have designed the software. It just have to be implemented and built and coded. That's what I did. If people claim to be good people, this should not be a problem for them to support. If people claim to be believers, they give me another option that exists out there, and there's none. There's none. If they haven't chosen me to bring this information to the world, so be it. You don't like me? It's not for you. It's not for me. It is for the future and the prosperity of the future of all generations to follow. It will help your generation, your kids. It might not help me. From the time it come in place. It will help your kids. So why do people are reluctant to do the right things? No, I see, because everybody's like, God, why not me? Again, why not you in the place of Jesus Christ? Everything that is good, you want God to choose you. When are you gonna want other people to be chosen? That's what I don't understand about men behavior when it comes to loving others, compassion. Everything give me, everything give me, everything give me. You give a little bit of back. No, I don't have. Everything give me, everything give me. Open the door. I can do it. I can open. My hand is just too weak. I can open the door for another person. Men are sometimes just complicated a certain way, and they're doing it by themselves, and at the end of the day people start crying, well, why are they doing this to him? Well, I say to people, maybe what I'm going through is the residual from a previous existence or something done from my ancestor. God don't make mistake. That's what I said. You go with it and you learn pain so you don't have any problem. Worry free. You become friend of pain. So worry free. It's very simple. But people trying something happened to a person, he start pointing hand or something. No, your problem is in you. If something happened to you, you are the problem. If you look closely, fine, it come back to you, the problem. Otherwise, it should have happened to Smith Joe, John Joe, but it happened to you. It's not a coincidence. Otherwise, we should be questioning, why do somebody want lottery? Why do somebody have a good job? Why him? Why not somebody else? So don't ask why him, why not somebody else when it is something bad. It was meant to happen. It's just what it is. You have to be realistic in your faith, in your state of faith. Don't fake in your state of faith. Of faith. Otherwise, when you pray, no manifestation. I am very direct and straightforward because that's what God wants to see. And when I pray, people are saying, no, I have the gift within. I have the power within. But I cultivate that power. I work in it. Forgiveness was the first thing I learned how to do, and I became good on it. I was even born a forgiving person anyway. A giver, I'm good at it. I was born a giver anyway. A helper, I'm good at it. I was born a helper anyway. Making people happy about around, making some joke and stuff. I'm good at it. I was born that way anyway. See what I mean? So those are things that are part of me. The only thing I have left is to put some alcohol and lemonade into a cup and drink, and so maybe I don't get sorry later on. That's the only thing I don't have. But any other thing I do. And one of the reasons why people have to focus on God and Jesus Christ, so it can help them in the soul. I love those people. God talked to me about a relation before it happened. Beyonce and B and J. I mean, it's just funny people. Anyway, God said Jay, he have to build up a personal relationship with God. That's the message. He have to start it now before it's too late. He know the story of Jesus Christ, but he doesn't know Jesus Christ well. He doesn't have a good relationship with God yet. The wife, she was born in a very Christian family, but they're losing the sense of where they're from because of the money that came. They have to reconnect with God, as God said. They be family. They have to do that quick. It's just a message. If God don't love you, He doesn't gonna say that. You know, JLO, she's a very good person. She have a good heart, but she have to reconnect with God. She know Jesus Christ as a symbol, historical Jesus Christ, but she don't know Jesus Christ personally. She have to reconnect quick. She have relationship problem. It's because she don't know Christ very well. Christ can solve it. By the way, Christ sent people in her way that are not her rank to help her to connect, but she's rejecting. She have to reconnect. There are many people out there that are suffering. They have emptiness inside of them. It's because our technology is not advanced enough to tell you that we don't know too much about our human body. And I just told you that information. To activate your spiritual DNA, God, Jesus Christ. For Buddhists, they know how to do it. They do it through meditation, using cosmic laws. Hindu, they do the same things. But through Jesus Christ, normal prayer, angelic being going to do that in your place. So I wish you a very good week, very good convention, democratic convention. It will be safe. Don't worry. It is done. You know, just go over there and have fun like like Donald Trump had. Be less politically correct. Speak like the people. You see the difference. All right, that's an advice. It doesn't come from me. It comes from the Holy Spirit. I will see you next time. If God bless, for people to be alive. You can reach me at www.NGOH Medical Foundation IT Inc. or LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, any social media out there, Google Plus, MySpace, as you may know. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope this information are too many, but they are well stratified. If you follow it accordingly, you understand where our world is going, and reintroduce yourself to God and build a personal relationship with God.